Well, we had a little brain warm-up. I think we're ready to go. It is a brand new week. It is a Tuesday. It is April 24th. And as I said before, this is the 1-year anniversary of the Twitch affiliate program, and this channel has been selected to participate in that. We will be on the front page of Twitch from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. So, technically Wednesday morning, but late this broadcast. Hey, Genocide, you got it. Nice. Bubonic, I did not actively. That is something that you and I can work on, all right? I'm not going to worry about it for what we're doing tonight. It is, it's fine. It's in good working order right now, and I'm going to roll with it. And I'll work with you on the back end, okay, Bubonic? Hey, Dorgrim, good to see you. And yes, Genocide. Genocide got it. Here stop and spend a social hour in harmless mirth and fun. Let friendship reign, and be just and kind, and evil speak of none. Very clever. That is the landlord's invitation. Alright, let's jump into it. Let's get going. Now, for a couple of you who might be new here in seeing the character creation process, in fact, Miss Genocide will be one, we met her last night doing some Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines play. It was a bit of a bonus episode. I normally don't broadcast on Sunday or Monday nights, though I was free partially Monday evening, and I wanted to make sure we were testing a few things to get ready for tonight. I couldn't tell you what was going on, as I was asked by the staff member from Twitch who sent me the email. So I could only kind of allude to it. Yeah, don't worry, Dark Wolf. I got that one. That was a special thing because she solved the riddle. Although you will notice that we do have 2 mods now with us, Dark Wolf and Ivalon. They are going to be assisting with giving out adventure points. So if you go through, you know, the random forest, or if you go through something like the random epic adventure, they can hand out your experience points. Now, I can still narrate, and I'll be glad to do that, but they're going to be helping me out on the back end, and as well, because we might have a lot of new friends joining us at our table tonight, they're going to help answer questions and go from there. Yeah, you're still on the bits podium, Clark. Enjoy that. Tin Cat, you may not have enough for random epic. That costs 2,000 EXP to do. That's the most expensive one, and it's the highest risk, highest reward command. Miss Genocide, if she's sitting at 1320, she can do random U, the letter U, D-A-R-K for Underdark, random U-Dark, if you want the highest risk, highest reward dungeon, or not dungeon, but like adventure you can run. Otherwise, Miss Genocide and others, the 6 commands that you see down below go in rank from the lowest risk, lowest reward, but you'll be more likely to win, up to the highest. And there's 6 different tiers. And of course, you can battle and you can duel each other as well. Though there are global cooldowns. Tin Cat, you need at least 100 experience points to battle. Yeah, there are cooldowns, and for battle, it has to be 100 or more experience points. You'll stick to the planes? That's fine. Alright, so we make characters here, not in... we do them in the traditional fashion for straight-up tutorial purposes. For storytelling purposes, for building towards a campaign, which we do every week in order to give you inspiration, break through writer's block, maybe even give you some content you can take home to your own tabletop. We do it in a slightly different way. So let's start the process. We need to determine, do we have a male or a female character? We're going to do that with a percentile roll, okay? 1 to 45 is female, male is 46 to 90, and a multi-class character is 91 to 100. 39, so we're starting out with a female character. And as you see, I have some placeholders here on the sheet, and I'm simply going to replace G for gender with F for female, okay? Now, let's determine which race we have. There are 9 in the player's handbook. I'm going to roll a d10, and if I get a 10, I will re-roll it. Otherwise, if you want, you could just come down here and make this a 9 in the bottom slot, and it'll roll a 9-sided die. 3. 1, 2, 3. We have a halfling. Now, which kind? I'm going to roll the d10 again. Evens, it's Lightfoot. Odds, it's a stout. 7. Odds. We have a Stout Halfling. Female Stout Halfling. There we go. Tin Cat enters lurk mode. Oh, that was nice then. Did you give some points over? Yep, you did. Oh, that was nice of you, Bubonic. Now, let's determine the alignment of our character, right? You might be used to saying, well, wait, what's this? What's her class? We'll get there. We got to do a couple other things first, right? Let's challenge ourselves to think. Let's challenge ourselves to conceptualize who this person is, even before they became the class of adventurer that they are. Hey, Yvonne, no problem. Do what you got to do. Is everything all right? Do you need to leave? We're going to do that with 2 percentile rolls, right? The first is for the good, neutral, evil axis, and the second is for lawful, neutral, chaos. Let's come back to the dice roller, and we're going to change this to 2d100. Hit roll, or you can click on the dice. 11 and 16, we are in the realm of good and lawful. We have a lawful, good, female Stout Halfling. Now, maybe you're starting to get a vague outline, like a silhouette, a distant, fuzzy silhouette of the character. Let's keep providing more details. What you may want to do, Tin Cat, is grind on the plains a little bit with that experience points. It may be slower, but on plains and forests, you get a pretty solid return back. You got to catch up on greeter, but yeah. So Ivlon, are you wearing like a nice? Do you have your chainmail tie on also? Are you dressed as a butler? Or hey, Ivlon was just in our Discord looking to play Maid RPG. So if you guys like anime and also coincidentally maids or butlers, there is a tabletop roleplay system. I mean, I'll let you talk about that, Ivlon, if you're still searching for players. But bear in mind that at this channel, while we do feature Dungeons and Dragons, you can talk about World of Darkness, you can talk about 7th Sea, you can talk about Legend of the Five Rings. There's so many other systems that are out there. Uh-oh, death count's going into the Underdark. Can you do it? 2d20, rolling at an advantage. Oh, you were about to fall on your sword, but it looks like you pulled through. Nice death count. Nice. Now, what do we have? What do we have? We're not worried about evil characters, so we're skipping past here. What level is she? We're going to change this back to 1d100 and roll it. 13. That's going to be level 4. Nice, solid level 4 character. At level 4, you get the chance to get an ability score increase, or improvement, I think is an ability score improvement, ASI. Or you can take a feat. I'm going to roll a percentile die and see if we're going to take the stat bump or if we're going to take a feat. Yes, Evelyn. I figured because we're going to be having guests tonight, I might as well, dress up a little and, put on a good show. I have my extra flair going, right? Percentile, and 42. Nope, we're going to take the stat bump. In D&D 5th edition, that means we're going to add 2 points to 1 ability score, or 1 point to 2 ability scores. Now for her background. Wait, what's her class? Hang on, we're getting there. There are 13 different backgrounds. This is what you did before you were an adventurer. This is important. I'm going to make a 13-sided die, and I'm going to roll it. 11. Ooh, a sailor or a pirate. Well, Ivalon, it looks like your coastal adventures here might have become a little easier, as we have someone who'll be a little bit more intrinsically inclined to the sea. And you know what? Last week, we ended up with our first character being she was a lawful good pirate with a bad reputation, if you can fathom that. And there's a story behind that, too. Troll food. And the troll, yeah. If you don't pay no tolls, we don't eat no rolls. I'm going to put up here, we have a sailor pirate. And we can either take ship's passage or bad reputation. I'm putting the slash there because as we develop her personality, we'll decide which one seems to fit better, which will create a better story for this character. Ivalon says, I would work with this player because the ruler of Lacuna has hired privateers to attack and plunder the invading ships of the Shadowheart Empire. Ah, okay. Very good. All according to plan. Now, we also are going to furnish 2 personality traits with 2d8 and 3 other parts of her background. Her ideal, her bond, and her flaw with 3d6. On this style of character sheet, this is on page 2. So let's hit it. We're only looking for placeholders. What does this mean? We don't know, and that's perfectly fine. Right now, just roll the dice, let it feel good, and we'll worry about the details later. 3, 2, and 6. Okay. Now, we have 12 classes, and we have a big 12-sided golden button. Let's hit that button to determine, finally, which class she is. 2. A bard. You know what? We had a... Ooh, this is spooky. Our first character last week... now, she was a brass dragonborn. But we had a female lawful good sailor pirate, etc., who was also a bard. And bards on odds or evens will either get the College of Lore or the College of Valor. If we get Valor... Ooh, this is super spooky. All right, here we go. Odds or evens, I'm going to roll the d12 again. Ah, she's going to be College of Lore. All right, that's fine. Bard, College of Lore. Dun, dun, dun. Now, one last little bit of random number generation. It may seem arbitrary, but it's helping us to define her physically and maybe even give into her personality. You know, is she big for her age? Is she big for her race? Is she small? Why is that? Maybe she had a rough childhood and didn't eat a lot, and so her growth was stunted. There's a lot that can come into play here. It's also interesting she's a halfling because, yeah, that's true. Halfling are refugees there. Isn't this fun how this is working out, Ivalon? We trust ourselves to the dice rolls. And Plunder Loot, welcome. Welcome. Ivalon was hoping for a Valor pirate. Well, a Valor can still sword play, just, you know, maybe not as aggressively. Yeah, hashtag not rigged. Tin Cat's gonna go into lurk mode so you can pay attention and learn character creation. Okay. Oh, hibbity jibbity. Where are we now? We have halflings. Here we go. Alright. Halfling. Is this... Wait, is this... You know what, Bubonic One? I think I accidentally opened up the one version older sheet. Maybe in between the breaks here, I can get the other one open. Sorry about that. Bubonic One took our original random character design that I made in OpenOffice, and he used his clerical skills in order to provide more of a spreadsheet here. And even there is a dice roller down here too that we can use. Though I'm doing it in front of you all so we can have a conversation and take it one step at a time. Yes, Clark, this is going to be the final. This is going to be the final piece of Mesotopia. Before I think I'm going to do something special, and we're going to have a. We started with a campaign 0 called Thugs and Kisses. Oh, that party was something else that we made that week, and that's what gave birth to the Mesotopia region. And for now, about the last 2 months or so, we've been exploring it region by region and making it come alive through adventures and characters. This is going to be the final part of Mesotopia that will be detailed this week. What I think I might do next week is do kind of a Thugs and Kisses Part 2, or something that is going to springboard off of everything we've done, including Ivalon's plots, to have this invading empire creep ever closer, even while the people of Mesotopia still struggle and squabble between each other. And we might have a fun setup, because I have been teasing that at some point I might turn one of my broadcast days, like an informational one, into maybe a Roll20 session. And we're going to feature the environment that we made together on Twitch. More details on that. If I'm going to do it, I want to make sure I'm doing it right, so I'm not rushing it. Mage, this background music, it is called Medieval Town, or it might be Medieval Village. And it is on a site called tabletopaudio.com. We did Fall Fire Plains already, Evelyn. Oh, Dark Wolf got there. You're so proud that Dark Wolf and I came up with the Meso Masquerade. Yeah, that's an excellent one. And by the way, all with the exception of Fall Fire Plain, all of the campaigns have videos, and all of them are located on YouTube. And if Dark Wolf would be so kind as to give the YouTube command to you all, if you haven't already followed, what I do is I compartmentalize the broadcasts to focus on the specific things we address. Not necessarily the general talk. And if you want to get campaign ideas, if you want to get map inspiration, if you want to get DM or PC tips, that's all on the YouTube as well. Mr. Plunderloot says, I say make a half-rabbit chicken named East R. Bunny, College of Carrots Bard, with his mighty cluck sword. He shall dispense justice to all who threaten his brethren. Yeah, like all 20 of them, right? All 20 brothers and sisters. All right, so here's a halfling. They start at 2 feet 7 inches. We're going to add 2d4 inches to them. We're adding 5. Oh, wow. So she's coming in at a whopping 3 feet. Pretty tall for a halfling. They don't get too much taller than that. Now, we're going to take the same 5 pounds or the same 5 inches that we rolled, multiply it by the weight modifier, which is 1, and we're going to add it to a base weight of 35. So, she weighs 40 pounds, right? She gets up in the morning, she just has like her nightie or whatever on, her sleep cap, and she weighs herself and she's 40 pounds. That's not her armor, that's not her equipment, that's not a backpack or a flute or anything else that she has on her as a bard. This is just her. Mage, I own many hats. I am a man of many hats. And some masks, too. Dark Wolf, when the Miz and I were studying for sociology, we may or may not have broken into a full soundtrack sing-along for Phantom. Oh, wow. Nice, Clark. No idea what prompted it, but I'm so glad. That's really neat. Thank you for sharing that too, Clark. Not just about the fantasy games that you all play, D&D or otherwise, but even about the things that are happening around you. It's fun to share that sort of stuff at the table, because it's all experience. All right, finally, how old is she? Let's find out. We have a standard distribution here between child, like a child prodigy, and an ancient. 93. Ooh. Okay, so she is, she's not quite, she's not quite in the final waning years of her life, and by that I mean probably single digits. Though she is going to be venerable for her age. She's gonna be old and wise. All right, well maybe not wise. I don't know. We'll see. For a halfling, right? Venerable is 6. Here we go. Halflings 6. She's between 201 and 250 years old. We're going to roll a 50-sided die and figure out which is which. She's 225. So this might be one of her last adventures, and I wonder what could compel her to go out onto the seas or to travel along the coasts or through the mountains of Laguna. We're going to discover her personality now, and that will help shed some light. Okay, we have finished with the random number generation. This can go bye-bye. Now we have some placeholder numbers, and it's up to us to determine what that means. Yes, a halfling granny pirate. She'll know so many so many stories, right? So many songs. Oh, it'll be wonderful. And for those of you who are role players out there, don't be afraid to play older characters, middle-aged or elderly. In fact, one of my players in my own D&D game, a not online one, he's playing a dwarf who's pretty well, this is going to be his last adventure one way or the other. And it puts you in a completely different mindset as a character. Other than, because if we go to the opposite, let's say that you play a young adult or the child prodigy, right? You're the scrappy, 12 or 13-year-old. You're like Ash from Pallet Town. You're 10 and you're going on a global Pokemon adventure, that kind of a thing. Or, a lot of, young or mid-teens are going out in animes or, TMNT, that kind of a thing. Your outlook is going to be a lot different with an older character. And that's why I like generating this stuff first before we even worry about stats. Alright. We are going to begin with her background. This is going to give us a lot of information as to who she is, rather than what she does. Because what you do is something, it's in the now. Who you are helps bring you to this point in time. That's why I like starting with backgrounds first. Let's go down to sailors. Where we go? Let's see. There we go. Skill proficiencies, athletics, and perception. All right, I'm up here. She's going to get tool proficiencies with navigator's tools and vehicles. Oh, not land, water. She knows how to sail a ship. She's going to get a club, or a belaying pin in this case. And now let's go down to her backpack. She's also going to get silk rope, 50 feet. Lucky charm, which we will roll on the trinket table for. Trinket number something. Okay. Set of common clothes. And a belt pouch with 10 gold, or gapuz in it. One of her last adventures, you're already getting attached to the character. Rightel, hey, good to see you. Old PCs are great. Why their adventuring career started so late is a great hook. That's true. Was she docile, and then something moved her, and she's like, if I'm going to die anyway, I'm going to go out, dying for what I believe in. Or maybe she's just been, she's been the background NPC for so long, and finally, it's her turn to set out. Something along those lines. I mean, however we want to set it up for this character. Now, we are going to consider she can be a sailor or a pirate. and she has 2 different backgrounds. Ship's passage means that it is easier, right over here, it is easier for her to help get passage to get around the area. And she might be able to do so for a reduced rate, or might be able to make better accommodations, or something along those lines. If you take bad reputation, that means that she's a bad mamma jamma grandma, and everyone sort of gives her a fearful respect. When she walks in, the bartender just gives her a beer and doesn't ask any questions, because she might tell some tales that people don't want to know. Oh, another thing about Janet Passer from last week. Anyone want to know how I got her name? I feel like Lawful Good Grandma isn't going to have a bad reputation. Maybe not, but Janet did last week. And now we reasoned she did because she actually had turned a new leaf, though she still carried the bad reputation with her. But she had turned from a life of... That's why she was still a pirate with a bad reputation. But she, as an individual, was now on the lawful good side of things. But everyone else in her environment hasn't adapted to that yet. So, I get what you're saying, Evelyn, and we could very well stick with Sailor with Ship's Passage. But it was fun discussing how we could actually have such a paradoxical character like that. Before we choose these, why don't we look into her personality some? Okay, these are her personality traits. Mage, I don't know. We can have her be a grandma. She can be, or even just a ma. Or she could have been single her whole life. That's up for us to determine. Janet is the feminine of John, and a nickname for John is Jack. And Passer is from Passerday, the scientific name for sparrow. Oh, clever girl. Heck, for all we know, she could even be a great-grandma. I mean, depending on her proclivities in youth. Yeah, and you know what? She just could be a solitary figure. Maybe, now, because of a life at sea, it could be biological. What if she was just not able to have kids? I mean, that happens. And, keeping it tasteful and in context, if you're a female sailor, that could have its benefits, depending on your personality and where you're going or what's happening. Again, I'm keeping it tasteful, and I think we all are understanding. But in the culture of sailing, obviously, if you have a baby on a ship, that is a liability in many ways. A bad reputation could be antisocial. It's an earned reputation somehow, and that bad reputation, it's just people are afraid. Maybe she didn't even do anything. She could be the most pure-hearted, wonderful woman, but she's been alive and sailing for so long that sailor superstition has made an entire legend about her. And she doesn't necessarily deny any of it, but she has a bad reputation despite her being lawful good, because she's just been around for so long, and sailors love telling tales. And she has just become a central figure for all of it in the area. Huh? She doesn't have to be a Janet clone, Evelyn. I'm throwing out options. I want us to think. Oh, I'm sorry, Clark. I like the idea that this character was wealthy and did a lot of traveling by ship, and now she's looking for a more exciting adventure than anything she has before, telling tales from all the time that she's been abroad. Ah, okay. So she's a sailor by virtue of just having been on ships long enough. She knows all the terminology because she's just been in retirement cruising around Mesotopia for a while. I see what you're saying, Clark. Yeah, Tin Cat. I can put it up on our Discord. No problem. Alright, let's get to her personality traits. 4 and 3. Number 4, I stretch the truth for the sake of a good story. And 3, I enjoy sailing into new ports and making new friends over a flagon of ale. Or if we want to say that she likes other drinks, like maybe she doesn't drink alcohol. Maybe she's a sweet old grandma who just likes tea, or just water, or maybe she's only a wine drinking grandma. Or again, maybe she's not even a grandma. All right, what is her ideal? Her ideal is number 3, freedom. The sea is freedom. The freedom to go anywhere and do anything. It is labeled as a chaotic ideal. It can still work within lawful good. There's not really much in here in this broad description that would make it so that she can't still be lawful good. You like the idea of a sweet old grandma who can beat you in a drinking game? Well, Ivalon, she can. She is a stout halfling, which means she gets poison resistance and advantage on saving throws. So she will be able to just naturally drink people under the table. And that's just not a short joke either. Bonds are number 2. The ship is most important. Crewmates and captains come and go. Okay, so she has an attachment to the ship, meaning maybe she sailed on this ship for a long time as a passenger and or as a sailor. And so she is almost maybe a living figurehead of the ship. That kind of a thing. Everyone forgets you start losing physical abilities as well when you're close to death. Yes, and in 3rd edition, that sort of stuff had optional rules where you would start losing physical stats and gaining mental stats, right? Because you're more experienced and seasoned and whatnot. For what we're doing, while yes, that is a consideration, plunder loot, and we can probably reflect that if we want to give her a low constitution or a low strength. In general terms of stats, we'll keep it as the normal spread. But that is a good thing to keep in mind. And if you're playing a character like this at home, I'd talk to your DM about it. Because maybe your DM will say, yeah, roll out stats normally, and then I want you to subtract 1 from all your physical stats and add 1 to all your mental stats. Or your DM might say, yeah, subtract 4 points from any of your 3 physical stats, and you can add 4 points to any of your mental, minimum 2 different ones, or something along those lines. Mage, yeah, she might have a network of people that she can talk to. Make her a drunken master granny. Yeah, it was good for role-playing plunder loot. Halflings, she's about at her limit. About 250 is like our natural, like, what is it, like 69, 70, something along those lines for humans. Oh, 355 is the maximum. Okay, so she's still advanced in age, but let's see, what is her flaw? Number 6, because look, we're all flawed creatures. My pride will probably lead to my destruction. Ivalon, I don't know if yeah, I mean the lore, it would depend on the lore where you're getting it from. I thought that in 5th edition the cap was around 250 or so. But what this means, if you're reviewing this character with your DM, this might mean that come the end of the campaign, we might be down a party member. In fact, she might even go down with the ship, if you get what I'm saying. Now, that's something you talk about with your DM. Do the other players know this? Probably not. And you want to keep it that way. until the end, because then at the end, whenever this grand finale comes, and, you know, they're like, you know, oh, Granny, grab my hand, you know, grab my hand, do it now. And she loves this ship so much. Maybe she realizes it's her time. And she's happy with it. Or not. I'm setting a mood and I'm setting a scene. I'm trying to make us think about possibilities. I got you, Bubonic. Let's see, since we have Sailor, let's go to the Age of Sail here. Okay. She makes me think kind of like Christopher Lee and still be epic at such an advanced age. Yes. Hell, Dark Wolf, look, things happen. Death happens, and, you know, I don't know if my player in my personal D&D game is going to go this route, but I have a feeling that come the end of the campaign, we might be losing Darvik. We may not have a Darvik after the dust has settled. Oh, gotcha, Bubonic. Let's all go to Granny Glitterhammer's candy house. She always has some pies and cakes for the children, and that honey mead is so delicious. All right, now we have her personality. Let's make a few more things solid, okay? She stretches the truth. She enjoys sailing to new ports. She loves the freedom. The ship is important, and her pride will probably lead to her destruction. I don't think I'm getting a pirate vibe. I think that she is going to be a lawful good sailor, and she's going to stick with the ship's passage. If you think differently, you are welcome to say so. This isn't my character, this is our character. And if you want to back up a reason otherwise, please do so. Leave your thumbprint on her. By the way, Glitterhammer is the main gnome clan in Lacuna. Oh, gotcha. Okay, yay, we are finished now with the background information. Let's discover what she gets by being a Stout Halfling. Yeah, I love it. Halfling Traits. All Halflings are going to get an ability score increase of 2. So I'm going to put it here on the sheet for safekeeping, so we remember. We already have age, alignment, size. Oh, she is small. SMOL. She is small. Her walking speed is going to be 25 feet, which means her climb is 12 and her swim is 12. And she does not have a fly speed, so we can put 0. She does have lucky as a racial feat, or a feature, I should say. When you roll a 1 on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can re-roll the die and must use the new one. She's also a brave. She's a brave granny. You have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Poisoned we're going to get to in a second. I just put it up there since I've already clicked. And we also are going to get Halfling Nimbleness. We can move through the squares of characters who are larger than us. I wonder if the ship belonged to someone she cared about, and now it's all she has left. Oh, very cool, Tin Cat. Perhaps she was married to the ship's captain and he's passed. Like, this is both her and the ship's last voyage. Captains come and go, but the ship remains. You know, that almost, Ivlon, or if anyone else, if you like sea shanties, or if you like that sort of thing, that would be a really cool thing if you wanted to write up a little ditty or like a little shanty. You know, about I like that emphasis, Ivalon. Captains come and go, but the ship remains. And as Mage suggested, that is a pretty deep point. What if her husband, or what if it was someone that she served under, right? As a mate, or not in a biological sense, but what if she admired this man, and one of her biggest regrets is that she didn't get to marry him. And so now, like, she's married to the ship because she's, as an idea. It doesn't have to be that at all. You like it because it's actually one of her characteristics. I think, yeah, I think so. Well, no. That's why I'm saying, like, taking what was there, Ivalon, but you emphasized it, and in a way that sounded really good. That's the whole part of storytelling and unlocking ideas and brainstorming among all these different creative minds we have in here. Well, Mage, you are in the best place for that. Languages. Common, Halfling. Now, we are not a Lightfoot, so goodbye to that. We are going to get these Stout abilities right down here. As a Stout Halfling, our con score increases by 1 intrinsically, and we get resistance to poison damage. So I'm going to fill in this little radio button right up here. Right, this is poison. Immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities. And this is where poisoned comes into play. Okay, now we get to make a bard. Classes. Bard. We are going to get 4, because we're level 4, 4 D8s for hit die. We've used 0. We are not multi-classed, so we don't have to worry about these ones over here. If you want, you can leave them blank, you can X them out, you can 0 them out, do whatever you want. That'll make sense for you. Proficiencies, we are going to get light armor proficiency. We are going to get simple weapons, hand crossbows, long short swords, and rapiers as proficient weapons. Tools, we are going to get 3 instruments of our choice. Now we're going to fill in some more buttons here. She's going to get proficiency on dexterity and charisma saving throws. You see where it says saving throw here, and it has a diamond instead of a dot. That is going to indicate that she's better at making saves against effects that require this than not. Do pirates and sailors have their own language? That very well could be the case, Mage. In D&D, there is something called Thieves' Cant. So it's a language that thieves use. Could we conceptualize that there is sailor talk or something along those lines? A pigden of different languages that sailors use? Very much. If we wanted to make up something like that, there's nothing stopping us from doing so. So in this case, because Ivalon is actually going to be a guest DM in this week's campaign, Ivalon, if you want, do you want to make a special sailor language, or do you want to keep it like common Halfling? King says, Mage, everyone in here has creative Tourette's and we can't stop ourselves from throwing ideas at everything. Yes. It's a good problem to have. Plunder loot, no, but Thieves' Cant would be more commonplace. It also adds flavor. Tin Cat, maybe her and the person it originally belonged to built it together, and she's the only one who really knows the ship in and out since she helped build it. Hence her love for the ship. Maybe after the person she loved died, she went to land for many years. Maybe that's why she's going on this adventure now. She's trying to get the past or to forget the past, Tin Cat. You can. There's a language with flags. Oh, that's true. Yeah, piratish or sailors can't. So yeah, if Ivalon wanted to include it, death count, that's true. There's like a flag or a beacon light, like a Morse code. If we want, we can come up with something along those lines. I will leave that to be Ivalon's call since he is going to be DM for this week. Hey, and thank you for the link there, Death Count. And for those of you who didn't know, not only do we have RP creative Tourette's, but we also use our life experiences over here to help each other out too. All right, skills. Now we're gonna get a lot of skills. Right now, I'm just gonna put down that we owe ourselves 3 skills. I'm gonna just write it here. There we go. We will get more, and I don't want to do it just yet because bards and skills are very interesting combinations. Equipment. We get to start with the following equipment. A rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon that can be ranged or melee. In this case, then, we want to consider, does Granny have, like, old man strength? I mean, I know she's a grandma, but does she have old man strength? Look, she already has athletics. Like, just has she been working out all her life, and so she's still got the muscles, even though her skin may not be as taut or voluptuous as it once was? Or do we want to make her more dexterous? You know, she's more of a duelist. Or maybe she uses something like a crossbow, so she's not the best with melee, but we want to make her ranged. Well, I'll let you all talk it out. Not at all, Tin Cat. The abilities are going to be some of the last, the scores are going to be some of the last things we do. I want to build her as a person before I stat her with cold hard math. The army also has flag language, but it is different. It is the way that you wave the flag. Ah. That's cool to know. Just in case the radio's busted, we can still talk to Land or Sea. I definitely like the idea of a Sailor Granny who's a fearsome duelist. Well, we can build a duelist on strength, or we can build a duelist on dexterity. It really comes down to how do we want to flavor her. Let's see, a diplomat's pack or an entertainer's? She's probably going to go for more of the entertainer's pack because that has things like a costume and some other bits and bobs in order to tell tales and sing songs better. Musical instrument. I don't know which one, so I'm going to put a placeholder here. And she's going to get leather armor. Whoops. And a dagger. So hitting power or speed. I like the idea that the title Granny for her is more honorary than actual blood relations. That could be too. Maybe all of the sailors just know her as Granny. And they all listen to her and they treat her as the matron of the ship. Whether or not she's the captain, it doesn't matter. If Granny says something, something gets done. Like a term of respect, yeah. Other than that, I'm not sure what to... wait. Death Count says, other than that, I'm not too sure of I was a CB. I don't know. Dark Wolf, you want her to play the hurdy-gurdy? Look at me. I'm the captain now. About the flags. I'm not sure I followed Death Count. Spellcasting. We're not going to worry about that just yet. You are a spellcaster. Spells are going to be one of the last things we do. We have 4 levels of content. Yes, there's 20. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Look up here. Right up here. As a 4th level character, we are going to know 3 cantrips. Placeholders, so we know what we're looking at. Our proficiency bonus is going to be +2. Alright, so now we know what we can add to certain things. We will know 7 spells, okay, and we'll get there. Don't worry about the spellcasting stuff just yet. We are also going to get Bartok Inspiration. And the amount we get is going to be equal to our Charisma modifier. So we can't fill that in just yet, but we have it. Bartok Inspiration is great because it makes you quite a supporter. You have a good supporting role in a party. Tin Cat, Strength Granny, just picture her like grabbing pirates by the ears and yelling at them that they're bad kids. The pirates are just so embarrassed. Oh, got you. The flag language that the Navy uses. Okay, got it. King says the dice have stated Strength Granny. Okay, we'll make a Strength Granny. So we can give her a longsword then. Now, if we don't want her to duel with a sword, I'm gonna collapse Bard 1 second. We can take any simple weapon that we'd like. Well, she has a club. That could be a dagger, a great club. So she could really like heft, you know, something bigger. A hand axe, a javelin, a light hammer, a mace, a quarterstaff, a sickle, or a spear. Otherwise, if we want her to be a dueling granny, we can give her a longsword. Great club, but we flavor it as a broom. We could do something like that if you wanted to go around bonking people. Disappointing granny is not advisable. Maybe a hammer. She's always working on the ship. Oh, hey. That could be a good idea too, Tin Cat. Well, then, how about this? Why don't we kind of, why don't we do this, right? As a sailor, you get a club, which is a belaying pin. She has an obvious attachment to the ship, so we can say, look, she'd be getting a simple weapon anyway. Why don't we do something like give her a light hammer instead? So that she can do things like repair the ship, shore it up, and she's going to take that instead of the belaying pin club. And then we can give her, instead of a longsword, we could give her a great club or like a swabbing mop or something like that. You thought halflings? I think that might have just been if it was a heavy weapon. Let's go up real quick. Yeah, heavy. Small creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls with heavy weapons. A heavy weapon's size and bulk make it too large for a small creature to use effectively. Two-handed, this weapon requires 2 hands to use. So a halfling can use a great club with it being two-handed. Long Joanne Silver. Go. Oh, she's definitely about the bludgeoning damage here, right? And a light hammer is 1d4 plus. This is going to be bludgeoning damage. This is going to be bludgeoning damage. And this is going to be piercing damage. Plunder loot, that kind of scaling, I don't believe has carried over into 5th edition, but in 3rd edition, that was the kind of, that was what was implied. A dagger to a medium creature was a short sword to a small creature. Or in this case, we have a long sword to a halfling, is a short sword to a human, is a dagger to a giant, kind of a thing. Mage. Maybe the ship is even named after her, but no one Oh, Tin Cat. That could be very interesting. Maybe the ship has her real name, but no one sailing on it knows. They just call her Granny. I like that. That's cool. Old lady on a ship kind of tells its own tale. Captain Jackie Sparrow. Let's go back to classes and continue our bard. Alright, at second level, she is going to be getting, in this case, if it's Jack of all trades, she'll get Jill of all trades. That means every skill in which she is not proficient will get half of her proficiency bonus anyway. So she just knows a lot about everything, or a little about everything. Something, something, Granny Pearl. She will also get Song of Rest. And these are also going to be D6s. So we'll just make a note of that. We're going to take our Bard College. That's going to be our archetype at level 3. And at also at 3, we're going to get Expertise. We're going to choose 2 of her skills, and she's going to be super duper skilled in them. Altogether, we're going to get 6 skills to put into Granny here. And then we're going to get to choose 2 of them and make them even better for her. Okay. College of Lore. Now we are going down to our archetype. This is at 3, because at level 4 we get our stat bump. We get proficiency with 3 more skills of our choice, so here's our 6 skills that we need to choose. And she is also going to learn Cutting Words, which uses her Bartok Inspiration in a different way. Yeah, and she won't get anything else until level 6. Okay, very cool. Now we can start thinking of skills and then stats. Death Count wants to call her Diana Lockett. You can easily imagine some sort of depressing Glory Days background, but now that I know she's a halfling, I just have to assume she wandered up to the ship in her 20s and rolled to seduce it and succeeded. Okay. Well, there's only one strength-based skill, and Granny's already good at it. Let's look at her personality to determine where we should put our other proficiencies with skills. She stretches the truth for the sake of a good story. That to me is maybe deception. Okay. I enjoy sailing into new ports and making new friends over a flagon of ale. That could very well be persuasion. The sea is freedom, the freedom to go anywhere and do anything. If you're doing that, maybe you have, well, she definitely perception, so she can see what's going on. Would that maybe give her insight into people's personalities? Would that perhaps make her more of a survivor? If she's been around to all these different places and she knows how to forage and scrap or whatnot? Would that be investigation, so she can piece together cultures and go from there? The ship's what's most important. Crewmates and captains come and go. So what could be? Could that be something like intimidation? If if she's so adamant to stay aboard the ship, or if she wants to weather the storm, no, I will stay up here, and she tries to cow people. My pride will probably lead to my destruction. Could that mean that she's actually not skilled in insight? Right? If she doesn't care about other people? I mean, not in that way. I'm sure she cares. But she cares about the ship. She doesn't necessarily care about other people. You'll find something French. La Dark Wolficia. Lucia. I like Cora for her name, says Evelyn. Cora, heart, I like it. Alice. King Von Ale says Le Von Ale. I just picture it, someone sells the ship, Janie, and Granny just comes with it. You like Rose? The Cora Rose? Well, if that's the case, if we have something like the Cora Rose or Sea Rose. Hey, Kitty, it's good to see you. Or should I say, ah. For sale, one ship comes with one Granny, no exchanges. Yeah, no refunds, comes as is with Granny. Okay, what we'll do then, we know that we're going to be giving her this standard array of scores, so let's put her name. All right, well, if you all have opinions on skills, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start filling them in and giving my reason. If you would like to shift something, please let me know. And we have 6 skills to work with. I think because of her personality, she'll stretch the truth for the sake of a good story. That would be deception. And I think persuasion. If she has... Let's see. She has freedom. The ship is most important. My pride will probably lead to my destruction. She has athletics. Probably history. I mean, she is kind of living history. Oh, Bubonic is suggesting here. I'll write in the suggestions for Bubonic, and we can talk about this too if any of you have a different opinion for scores. 14, 8, 13, 12, 10, and 15 is what you're picking up? So we have 3 more. You'd argue that stretching the truth for a good story's performance? I mean, we can include that too. History for storytelling, yeah. If she likes, if she does like sailing in the new ports and meeting new people over a flagon of ale. If you like meeting new people, you want to know if you're impressing them, that might be insight. And 1 more. And you like survival too? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 2 from our background and 6 from being a bard with the archetype of the College of Lore. So it looks like these are her skill spreads here. I would probably then swap intelligence for wisdom. Granny lives 95% of her life on a ship and is able to drink new friends under the table over a good tall tale. Is that a short joke, Clark? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, there. All right, that's all proper. Granny has hit points for days. Ivlon says, I'd switch deception and persuasion for intimidation and survival. You think Granny is intimidating? Well, deception or but I think that would help her be social. And I don't know if she's like intimidation. We could work, right? If the ship is important and she is not gonna, Granny's not gonna do what she's not gonna do. I do completely get that. But I don't know. I think persuasion would be big for her as well. So you would want to switch out deception and persuasion for intimidation. Well, we already have survival. We're fine. The maximum amount of dots are already on the sheet, Ivalon. So if you want to move them, it's just simply moving something from someplace to someplace else. If she just stands at the table, she's already under it. Never call Granny Rose short or old. Unspoken rule of the ship. Clark agrees with Ivalon that she should be intimidating. Well, we can take away something and drop it into intimidation. That's fine. You said deception and persuasion. Well, we only need one. If we want to take away deception, though, I don't know. I thought it fit because she stretches the truth for the sake of a good story. It's not deceptive like it's not like mean criminal deception, but you could use deception within storytelling, I think, to be able to accomplish that instead. Though maybe performance we can move to intimidation. You know, she's not necessarily performing for people, right? She might be singing a song, but she doesn't care what people think about it. So that might work, right? We move performance to intimidation. But for meeting new people in new ports, I can see persuasion being something big. Yeah, so deception could embellish the story and make it so that people will still believe you. You know, is she trying to sell bridges in Brooklyn to people? Probably not. But she's using it to weave into her stories to tell these sailors' yarns. You like this setup, Clark? Yeah, Bubonic, no performance. Yep, big fish stories. I caught a fish this big. This big. All right. If we stick with these scores, then her con goes to 14, and we get rid of the racial modifier, and her dex goes to 10, so that equals out. Now we get one stat bump that we can put into something, and that's going to be a +2 to 1 score, or 1 to 2 scores. I almost want to say we should put both points into charisma in order to make Granny even more lovable, or intolerable. Yeah, Clark, I'm with you. I think we should put both points into charisma for her level 4 stat bump. Bubonic agrees too. Very good. Oh, Ivalon, you wanted even more wisdom. Interesting. Okay, well, what's... Mage is saying charisma. Ivalon, hey, throw out why you would want to put the 2 points into wisdom. Marjolaine, name meaning minty herb. What did you want, so what did you want Marjolaine to reference, King? +2 strength, Granny can carry the ship. She's 200 years old, that's a lot of accumulation of wisdom. Perhaps. I would argue that's more of an accumulation maybe of intelligence. I mean, yeah, intelligence and wisdom are kind of two sides of the same coin. Yes, Cora Rose. Yeah, old doesn't always mean wise. You could definitely be set in your ways. But let's... For sake of what we're doing here, Your grandpa's a testament to that bubonic one. We can go back and change it. Look, we're not dealing with ink and paper here. If we kept it like this, what that would mean is she's going to get a +3 charisma bonus, 1 wisdom, 0 int, and by the way, 0 dex, 2 con, and 2 strength. Now that we have this filled in, we can now fill in our skills and some other things over here. Okay. This is going to be a 2 because it's based on your strength mod, but it's not proficient. Athletics, however, is going to be 4 because not only does she have a 2 strength mod, she also has a +2 proficiency. 2, and now, remember, Jill of all trades down here, we add half our proficiency to skills in which we are not proficient. That means these should be 0s. Instead, she's going to get 1 because that's half of 2. 1, 1, and 1. Saving throw is going to be a 2. The saving throw is a 0. Arcana is 1. 1, 1, 1. History, however, is going to be a 2. Wisdom, 1, 2, and 2 to medicine. Then we have 3 insight, 3 perception, 3 survival. Lastly, we have 5 for saving throws. 5, 5, 5, and 4 for performance. Now, yep, Dorgrim, I'm getting there. Don't you worry. She is going to have expertise in 2 skills. So 2 of these things that have dots next to them, she is going to get to add her proficiency bonus to again. What do you think she's going to be super de-duper-de good at doing? While you all are considering that and throwing ideas at me, Dorgrim did bring up a point that now since we have these numbers and we're starting to fill in info over here, your initiative is your dexterity. It is a dex check. Normally this would be a 0. Our Jill of all trades is giving her +1. That's half of her proficiency. Her armor class, well, she's wearing leather armor, so you start at 11 and you add your dex mod. So she started at 11 and she still has most of it left. It's Clark says, I still really like the idea of Granny walking around the ship with her great club that has a mop head on one end. Yeah, well, I kept that right up here. It's highlighted right now, Clark. Dark Wolf would want to swap wisdom with strength. What are the thresholds on the bonus? So you subtract 10, divide by 2, and yeah, round down. There you go. So 10 and 11 is 0. 12, 13, 1. 14, 15, 2. 16, 17, 3. 18, 19, 4, 20. Because that's the highest that you can get naturally in a stat is 5. Performance was deselected, Dark Wolf. Bubonic Ones thinks history and deception. Hey, Delcorin, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. We're making a very interesting character. She stretches the truth. She enjoys sailing into new ports. The sea is freedom. I mean, if you want, we could make it even perception, right? That's seeing, hearing, tasting. Perception is a part of her life. She wants to hear people talk. She wants to see new things. We could make an expertise in perception if we really wanted to. That's all her senses. That's all her tingles and her feels. Dark Wolf is saying history and intimidation. Deception sounds better than intimidation based on her personality. Yeah. Expertise is going to add her proficiency bonus again. So Clark, she will get to add +2 to the 2 skills in which she has expertise. Hey, Alzy, what's up to you, nerd? Maybe, so how about this? What if we did perception? You see how I filled in the little extra dot on the side? What if we did perception and deception? So she's really good at lying and telling tall tales in a form of entertainment, right? She's lawful good. She's not going to try and, you know, like wheedle people out of their money or anything. But she's really good at telling those tall tales as we're having a short joke. And her perception is her ability to just still be a part of the world and take it all in. Especially, yeah, she's good at all septions. Inception also. Now, if we do this, that means her deception skill is going to go up to 7, and her perception is going to go to 5. On the sea and in new places, you need awareness. Yes. Now we can fill in our passive perception, which is 10, plus our modifier for it. This represents how naturally aware she is of what's going on around her. Now, let's see. We made Granny strength-based. That means that her attack bonus is going to be her strength bonus plus her proficiency, since she is proficient with those weapons. Otherwise, she wouldn't get that bonus. So we have a +4 to hit with strength weapons, which conveniently all of these are. Now the bonus damage is based on your strength modifier. Bada boom, it's just that easy. Hit points. At level 1, you get the maximum amount of hit points for your hit die. In this case, that's 8. For every other level, in this case it's going to be 3, right? She's level 4. I recommend going half +1 of your hit die. It's slow, steady, and it still favors you as a PC instead of rolling randomly. Though your DM might say, I want everyone to roll randomly. In that case, that'll be 3 times 5. And one more thing. Every level, right? She's level 4, so every level, she gets her con modifier in bonus hit points. Times 2. That is our algebraic equation for hit points. There we go. She has 31 hit points. She is a tough old salt. Dark vision, by the way, halflings do not get it. So she has 0 dark vision. The only thing left now is to discuss her spells. Oh, by the way, she gets 3 Bartok Inspirations because that is her charisma modifier. Hecking king. Oh, geez. You need to make sure the sum of her inception and outception equals 0. Ah, yes. For the accounting, we need to balance our T-squares here. Very good, Elsie. At 4th level, she is going to know 7 spells, and she can cast up to 2nd level. In fact, she can cast 1st level spells up to 4 times, and 2nd level spells up to 3 times. She's used 0. Now, for the other ones here that she doesn't have access to yet, you can put X's in them, leave them blank, do whatever you want. The save against her spell effects is going to be 8, plus her proficiency, so 10, plus her charisma modifier, because that is her spellcasting modifier. She has a 13. An enemy would have to make a 13 or higher on a check against whatever spell she's casting against them. Her attack is going to be as, well, like common, do I speak it? Like the weapon attacks up here. Though instead of a strength-based weapon, this is a charisma-based spell, and of course she is proficient with spells. That means she's going to get a +5 to hit with her spells that ask for it. That was 13. That was +5. Her spellcasting ability is Charisma, and we are a bard. This was Bartok Inspiration. She has 3 uses, and we've used 0 of them. Cantrips, we have 3. 1, a 2, a 3. 3. She got to use 4 here and 3 here. And we know 7 spells. Well, how do we distribute that? This character I'd be really tempted to use as an NPC. Well, Clark, I'll put this on the Discord, so if you want to use her as an NPC, you or anyone else are welcome to do so. When I draw her, I'm going to give her a tool belt that is also double as a holster for the hammer, as well as extra nails, bits of string, and other... Yeah, that's fine. And a cookie pouch for the good sailors and sailets. I like that. She made a little cookie dispenser or something. So this is how you do bard spells. If we see here at first level, spells known 4, and she could only cast first level spells. That means, I suggest doing this, by the way, label on your spell sheet when you get the spells that you have. That way it's not confusing for you, or if your DM wants to see your spell sheet, she or he can say, oh, okay, that makes sense why or where you got that spell. Now you can see at second level, we know 5 spells, but we can still only cast first level spells. Level 2. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, level 3. What happens here? We go from 5 to 6 spells known, and looky here, we can start casting second level spells. Does that have to mean that we put level 3, like our at character level 3, that we can cast this second level spell? No. If you really love your first level spells, because many of them can be ramped up, they can be juiced up and cast at higher levels over here. If you wanted, you could put level 3 here. Otherwise, if we're doing it by the book, level 3 and then level 4. Hopefully that makes sense. Then what you'd have to do, and we don't need to do that, at least not right now, because I want to take a break in a little bit, get some water, and we're going to make our second character. Then in part 3, before we get to the twitching hour, we can talk about spells if you'd like. But here in chapter 11, right, here's bard spells. There's your cantrips, and then here's all your first level spells and your second. So you can go through and fill in your spell sheet. Your spell sheet for your character is like a diary. It's going to talk about where you've been, what you've done, the problems you've encountered, right? Why would you take, I don't know, if you're a sailor and you have access to the fireball spell, it is a ranged spell, and we could come up with reasons. Why did you take fireball? Or something along those lines. There has to have been a reason. Now, I mean, if you're just wanting to min-max, and you're like, well, but everyone on the forum says that fireball's the best spell to take at this level. That's a reason. Though, as we're building these quasi-PC NPC characters, why would she have fireball? So what is the spells that she knows as a bard should reflect her life, her ideals, the places she's been to, the things that she's done. Her spell sheet is a diary book for you. Ivlon, I believe by the book you can also trade out a bard's... Yes, that's true, Ivlon. That is worth mentioning, though I don't bring it up in this kind of 101 base conversation. But you are absolutely correct. Huenami, you sure like to make bards. Well, hey, I guess I like rolling 2 on a 12. It's good to see you again, Huenami, by the way. Prestidigitation for making cookies extra flavorful. Fireball on a wooden ship. Yeah, I know, right? But at the same time, it's a ranged spell, so it's dangerous for your ship, but it's also dangerous for other people who get within, what, 120 feet of you. Granny's Scorn. Oh, you want to rename Vicious Mockery as as Granny's Scorn? Here, we can put that here. We'll put Granny's Scorn. By the way, don't be afraid to reflavor the names, or if you want to make the as this probably has a somatic component, right? Spells can have verbal components; those are magic words. Somatic, right? Soma, body, so magic finger wiggles, or material components. So you know you got to get like a tail of a lizard and then it'll go into your spell. So in this case, Granny's Scorn, if it requires a somatic component, she just sort of waggles her finger at you. Mage Hand is Granny's helper. Sure. Oh, this here is Granny's helper. By the way, Ivlon, I don't know. Yeah, don't take Fireball on a wooden ship. Ivlon, I don't know if you were around when we were talking about it, but Mage had asked if there was a special sailor language that you wanted to give sailors. Like, there's Thieves' Cant and Druidic and these other secret languages. But as it was brought up by both a Navy and an Army vet that we coincidentally have in the group here, you know, the Navy does have flag communications, like ciphers, you know, like a Morse code for lanterns. Or if you wanted to make some sort of a Pigden language for sailors, and you want to call it like Sailors Talk or something like that, I said that would be your call as a DM if you want sailors to have a special language themselves. Tin Cat, Granny Scorn, the loom your grandma gives you, or I guess the look your grandma gives you when you did something wrong and she knows it, but expected better of you, and it's just a look of pure disappointment. Oh, that's a soul-crushing spell. Cure Wounds, Unseen Servant, Tasha's Heroism. Cure Wounds and Heroism because kindly grandmother, Unseen Servant to further help with the repairs. Tasha's for if one of her stories falls flat. Sure, we can put this up here. Cure Wounds, Unseen Servant. Would you want her to take Inspirational Word? Cure Wounds, Tasha, on Heroism. Mending is a cantrip, Bubonic. Would I say that, Hoinami asked, sorry I missed it, would I say that Bard is the most picked class? It's a popular one because it's so flexible. You can do a lot of different things as a Bard. You can be up in the mix as a frontliner. You can be a spellcaster. You could be a party supporter or a healer. Even a somewhat of a debuffer as well. It's a very flexible role to play, Hoinami. She definitely needs a cat with one eye that looks as old as her. Well, we could give her a pet like that. Cats are lucky to have on the ship. Good for rat catching. So she still is going to get a... she needs a cantrip, a level 1 spell, and a level 2 spell. If she has a pet cat, maybe she has Speak with Animals. That could make sense. I had a grandma that actually a great grandma, and she had a parakeet named Bill, and she taught it to sing, and she would speak to it as well. Detect thoughts. Granny always knows if there's something on your mind. If we do want Granny to be a bit of a healer, I might say lesser restoration. Mend for fixing little tears in things like sails. There you go. Hopefully that helps out, Tin Cat. I don't know, that for our last level 1 spell. So there we go. Alright, we have Granny's Scorn as Vicious Mockery. Granny's Helper's Mage Hand. Oh Bother, Not Again is Mending. Smoochums is Cure Wounds. Although maybe inside, yeah, that could be a Smoochums, or give Granny a hug. Be a Deer is Unseen Servant. Granny's Sensible Chuckle is Tasha's Hideous Laughter. I'm So Proud of You is Heroism. Right as Rain is Healing Word. Don't Lie to Granny is Zone of Truth, and Granny's Intuition is Detect Thoughts. Do you all yay, nay? Do you like this? Are we good? Granny's Kisses are Cure Wounds. There we go. Mage says aye aye. Mage is aboard. Bubonic gives a second eye. Or is that a singular eye? Is Bubonic one a Cyclops? Eye Captain looks ship-shape. Alright, well, we have ourselves a pretty much a completed character. Now, if we really wanted to fill, she has a backstory, we could fill all this in. If you click here in the gray box, you can upload an image if you find something that you think looks like Granny. If she follows a deity, or if this is the symbol of her ship, or of a club that she's in or something, you can upload another image here to this smaller gray box, and you can provide details. But for stats and other things, she is a completed character. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a 10-minute break, all right? I'm going to go freshen up and get some water. So, you guys get up yourself, stretch, eat a snack or something, and we'll meet back in 10 minutes, and I will have a blank sheet, and we're going to make character number 2 for the evening, okay?